Good evening, culinary students. Welcome to cooking school with me, Chef Alex Cardinale. How are you all doing today? Sorry that we had to keep restarting the show. We were having technical difficulties with my green screen, but it seems that we are up and running right now, and we're just going to go with the flow. So today's topic is going to be on pork. I'm going to educate you on pork. Now, pork is a protein that is very popular in the United States of America and all over the world. Pork comes from pigs, and from pork we get sausage, we get bacon, we get pork tenderloin, we get spare ribs and boneless spare ribs. So, pork provides Americans and people from all over the world a unique protein source. So, today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about pork, including the different cuts of pork, how to cook pork, and everything you need to know about pork. I also have four recipes that I'm going to be giving out on today's show. I'm going to give you a sausage cacciatore recipe. If you're Italian like me, you're going to love that recipe. I'm going to give you another Italian pork recipe, Italian spare ribs and tomato sauce. I'm going to give you my pulled pork recipe and spaghetti carbonara that is made with pancetta or bacon. Those are the four recipes that I'm going to give you on today's video. Now, do you have questions on pork? If you have questions, post them in the comments. I will answer them. This is, after all, a cooking class. So I look forward to answering your questions on pork. Now, do you have recipes you want to share? Do you have pork recipes you want to share? Post them in the comments and I will share them on today's video. So, with that being said, let's get this show started. And we're going to start by learning what to know about pork. So, here we go. Now, pork is forbidden in a number of worldwide religions, mostly Judaism and Islam, and even illegal to do in certain countries. It's still the number one most consumed red meat in the world. Pork is high in protein and is a rich source of several different vitamins and minerals, providing you with several health benefits that may interest you. This is why you should consider adding a moderation of pork to your healthy diet if you haven't already. Now, one thing I want to touch base on, I never understood why some people are forbidden against eating pork. I mean, they can eat beef and poultry and seafood, but what is it about pork that they can't eat it? I mean, basically, it's a pig. Pigs are made to be slaughtered. The pigs that are used for pork are raised with the sole purpose of becoming pork. Porky the pig. There you have it. But that's just my personal opinion and my personal take on it. One of the most important things to know about pork is that pork must be cooked to an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit. So the internal proper cooking temperature for pork is 145. Can pork be eaten medium rare or medium? Yes, absolutely. If there's one cooking myth that simply refuses to die, it's the theory that all pork needs to be completely nuked with no trace of pink or else you'll get sick. That is false. That is no longer true. Today, in today's generation, you can eat medium rare or medium pork. Now, why was there this rumor long ago? Well, it was because this was common practice for centuries, and many of us grew up while this was still true. But times have changed, and so has the pork we eat. It is perfectly fine to cook pork to medium or even medium rare if you so choose. Now, back in the old days, people were very skeptical about eating pork other than well done pork because pigs in the old days ate just about anything, including animal scraps and animal bones, potentially feces, and even humans. So that is why people back in the old days like to eat their pork well done. And pork usually had a lot of parasites and worms back in the old days. And again, that is another reason why a lot of people like to have their pork well done. But nowadays, you can certainly have a medium well, medium rare, or even medium pork. Now, pigs have always had a reputation for being trash eaters, and for a very long time, this was the case. Back in the day, if you didn't cook your pork until it was tough and gray, there was a chance that you could be infected with all sorts of nasty stuff, especially trichinosis, a very unpleasant parasite. Nowadays, however, commercial pigs are raised in much the same way as cows are, and the tricina worm, which transmits trichinosis, is virtually non existent in the United States pork industry. You can cook pork just like you can cook beef or lamb and not have to worry about getting sick. Yes, there's always a risk of contracting disease from other pathogens like salmonella, but no more than eating a runny egg yolk. While you're free to even cook it to medium rare if you like, we suggest you to stick to medium about 140 to 145 degrees because medium rare pork can tend to be a little chewy. Cooked to medium, it's tender and juicy. Cooked to well done, it is shoe leather. So that is what to know about pork. You can nowadays eat it medium rare, medium well, or even medium. Let's talk about the different cuts of pork, shall we? Here are the different cuts of pork. Up first are pork chops. Pork chops come from the loin and are quite tender and lean. They cook quickly, and a lot of people overcook pork chops because they underestimate how quick pork chops cook. Pork chops can cook anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes at a 375-degree oven. So keep in mind the next time you're making pork chops that they cook quickly. Pork tenderloin. This is my favorite type of pork. Pork tenderloin is also cut from the loin of a pig, yet it is considered to be the most tender of them all. It's usually a smaller cut of meat that is delicious when combined with rubs, marinades, and spices. You can buy prepackaged pork tenderloins in the butcher shop or in the meat section of your grocery store. Those are really good. Harmel has some great pork tenderloins, especially the Italian seasoned one. I love pork tenderloin. I love cooking them, and then I love serving them with risotto and mashed potatoes. Really, really good. You know, a few years ago, I was not really a pork guy, but then I started eating pork tenderloin and pulled pork, and I started getting into pork again. And pork tenderloin is one of my favorite types of pork. Then there's the pork loin roast. The pork loin is sold boneless and bone in and is one of the most affordable cuts of pork. It comes with a mild taste and is still considered lean, even with the fat that sometimes comes with it. Pork spare ribs. Spare ribs are probably the most common cut of pork that you will find at the grocery store. It is a bit tougher and fatty at times, but if cooked right, you will be treated to a tender and tasty slab of ribs. Now, a little bit later on in the show, I'm Italian, my family is Italian, and one of our Sunday pasta dishes is a tomato sauce that is made, and pork spare ribs are simmered in that sauce. And I got to tell you, that is one delicious way to enjoy pork spare ribs. You basically cut them in pieces and simmer them in tomato sauce, and you've got an amazing dinner, and we'll talk about that in a few seconds. Up next is pork shoulder, and pork shoulder is the last cut of pork we're going to talk about. If you love pulled pork, the pork shoulder is the way to go. It's also a budget friendlier cut of meat. It has more fat than the leaner cuts, but that only means that it has more juiciness, tenderness, and flavor. Pork is a red meat that should be enjoyed in moderation. Even though it's not considered a diet food, it does have a host of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that help keep your body strong and healthy. So that's all the information that I have for pork for you on this month's edition of Cooking School with Chef Alex Cardinale. Now, if you have questions on pork, post them in the comments and I will gladly answer them. Now it's time for the best part of the show. We can close our textbooks and get right in the kitchen because I'm going to give you some recipes utilizing pork. The first recipe I'm going to give out utilizes sausages, and sausage is made of pork, ground pork to be specific. My favorite sausage is the sweet Italian sausage. I also like the hot Italian sausage, but my mom doesn't really care for the hot Italian sausage. For this recipe, you can do a combination of sweet Italian and hot Italian, and it will be really delicious. The first recipe I'm giving out is a sausage cacciatore. And the sausage cacciatore is really simple to make and really delicious. So you're going to need some Italian sausages. I buy them in bulk at BJ's and Costco. And in those packs, there's about 12 to 14. So depending on how many people you're cooking for, take out how many sausages you may need. You're going to need one red bell pepper, one green bell pepper, one onion diced, or two onions if you like more onion. You're going to need a container of portobello mushrooms sliced. You're going to need a cup of red wine, and you could do homemade marinara sauce or your favorite jarred marinara sauce. And of course, nothing goes better with cacciatore, in my humble opinion, than spaghetti. Spaghetti and sausage is an iconic combination. So, to make this recipe, it is really simple. You are going to take your Italian sausages, put them in a sauce pot, and fill them halfway with water. I find that to be the easiest way to cook sausages is to boil them. And don't worry about seasoning. They're already full of seasoning when they were mixed at the store and your butcher made them. He put a lot of seasoning in them. or you can saute them or bake them in the oven. But the easiest way, and if you're looking for time consume, or if you're not looking to be time consuming, the easiest way is to boil them. So you're going to boil them for about 20 minutes. Now you're going to take a large saucepan. You're going to add about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You're going to add your chopped vegetables and saute them for about 10 minutes. Then you're going to add in your red wine and let that simmer for 5 minutes. Add the sausages and tomato sauce and let that simmer for about 20 minutes. Cook your pasta and serve. You're going to love this delicious sausage cacciatore. So the next recipe I have for you is that delicious Italian spare ribs that I was telling you about. They are really good. And here is a image of the Italian spare ribs that I was talking about. Now, this is not my recipe, but in this recipe, you can see in that bowl that there's Italian spare ribs and what appears to be a sausage. So Italians like to also serve sausage with this recipe, but in my recipe, it is just the Italian spare ribs and a couple of vegetables. So here is my recipe for the Italian spare ribs and tomato sauce. So you're going to cut up an onion and you're going to cut up a green bell pepper. You're going to add that to a saucepan and then you're going to add your marinara sauce. Now, again, you could use store-bought marinara or you can make your own marinara. It's really up to you. And in that marinara, you're going to add a cup of Parmesan cheese. That's going to add some great flavor. You're going to add some fresh basil, like a little leaf of basil is good enough, and some fresh parsley. Now you're going to take your boneless spare ribs. Make sure we are using boneless, and you're going to cut them into maybe 3 or 4 inch size slices and you're going to put them in tomato sauce and you're going to let that simmer for about 40 minutes. While that's simmering, you can make a salad and your sides. And after 40 minutes, it is done. Ready to serve with your favorite pasta. Really, really delicious. So the next recipe I have for you is a American recipe, and it is a recipe I really love and I really enjoy. And this recipe can be used for sandwiches, it can be used for macaroni and cheese, etc., or even to top mashed potatoes. And it is a pulled pork recipe. So here is my recipe for pulled pork. Very simple, yet very delicious. So my recipe for pulled pork starts off with a pork shoulder, and I cook my pork shoulder in a crock pot. So you're going to get a 6 to 8 pound boneless pork shoulder. Then you're going to season it with salt and pepper and your favorite seasoning because everyone has different seasonings. So use your favorite seasoning. You're going to need a couple of cans of barbecue sauce. We're going to make a barbecue sauce pulled pork. You're going to need a can of pineapple juice. It's going to give it a great Hawaiian flavor. You're going to need some pineapple slices. This is really good. So in your crock pot, you're going to heat it up. You're going to season and salt and pepper your pork shoulder. You're going to put it in the crock pot and you're going to let it cook for a while, about an hour. After that hour, you're going to add in the pineapple juice and one of the barbecue sauces. You can also add in Sprite if you like to help keep it extra moist and sweet. After that, you're going to let it go for another hour, and then you'll add some more barbecue sauce to make it sweet and sour. And after 45 minutes, it should be done. You can serve that on top of sandwiches, on top of macaroni and cheese, on top of mashed potatoes, or as a main dish. It is really, really delicious, And if you love pulled pork, this is a great recipe for you. And the last recipe I have for you for this month's edition of Cooking School with Chef Alex is a good old classic Italian dish that uses pancetta or bacon, and that is spaghetti carbonara. So for spaghetti carbonara, you are just going to need some spaghetti. And if you're making it for a lot of people, you can use 2 pounds, four or less, 1 pound of spaghetti. So carbonara is really simple to make. You're going to use the heat from the spaghetti to cook your sauce. So when you're draining the spaghetti, make sure you're saving a cup of the pasta water. We might not use the whole cup, but we definitely need that pasta water to help cook the sauce. So the ingredients for pasta carbonara: spaghetti, 3 eggs, salt and pepper, and again, your favorite seasoning. 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and you could use other Italian cheeses like Romano, Pecorino, etc. You're also going to need either pancetta or bacon. Sometimes I use a mixture of both pancetta and bacon, and it adds a great flavor. But a traditional Italian would kill me if I told them that I used American bacon instead of pancetta. So you're going to saute your pancetta or bacon or both until they're fully cooked. You're going to put that aside. Cook your spaghetti according to the package directions. Then you're going to save a cup of the pasta water. Beat your eggs and the cheese together. And then in a saute pan, add your spaghetti, the cooked pasta water, and the egg and pancetta mixture, and whisk until creamy, and you are ready to serve. That is a delicious pasta carbonara. And I will actually show you how to make pasta carbonara right here on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale, perhaps in my next cooking video. So stay tuned for that. I think that's going to be an amazing cooking video. All right, students, that is our culinary class for this month. I apologize for the technical issues and having to restart over 3 times, but hopefully next month our green screen will be figured out. So next month, we're going to talk about another protein, and that is poultry. So in June, we're going to talk about chicken and turkey. Learn some important facts about poultry. Learn the different types of poultry, the different cuts of poultry, how to cook poultry, and get some delicious poultry recipes next month on our next episode of Cooking School with me, Chef Alex Cardinale. Now, this Sunday, May 15th, 2022, at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, I am hosting the Cooking and Baking Q&A. Ask Chef Alex Live airs this Sunday. So if you have any cooking or baking questions, ask them this Sunday live at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I'll answer them. All right, and if you're new to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. I do cooking and baking videos, aquarium videos, crime videos, and more. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your day, and go make some pork. Thank you for watching, and peace out. Get cooking and stay safe. Chef Alex saying have a great night, everybody. A Ted Hot Sergeant Alex Cardinale here, inviting you to be a part of the inaugural Memorial Day 2022 Bash, hosted by me, Sergeant Alex Cardinale. The inaugural Memorial Day Bash airs live Monday, May 30th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. The 2022 Memorial Day Bash is being hosted by me, Sergeant Alex Cardinale. And on the Memorial Day 2022 Bash, I will discuss the history of Memorial Day, and I will discuss why we celebrate Memorial Day. We're going to pay our respects to all the brave men and women out there fighting for us and this great country. USA! USA! Also on the inaugural Memorial Day Bash, I am going to address the veterans. Yes, that's right, Sergeant Alex Cardinale is going to address the veterans. We're also going to have a very special guest. That's right, we're going to have a very special guest. Former Army member James Anthony will be our very first guest for the first time ever on a holiday bash. That's going to be incredible. So we're going to speak to a former Army member as we pay our respects to the United States of America men and women who serve in our Army and in our military. There's also going to be an appearance by Chef Alex Cardinale, and Chef Alex is going to give you the best recipes to make for the veterans in your life. There'll also be an appearance by Aqua Alex, and Aqua Alex will talk about how fish tanks can help veterans. And if Chef Alex and Aqua Alex don't do the right thing, I'm going to have to put them in the camel clutch and the cobra clutch. Maggots. So the inaugural Memorial Day 2022 Bash goes down live Monday, May 30th, 2022, live 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on my YouTube.
The following message is brought to you by Jeremy Stellarn and Little Egypt Aquarium Club.